Hi, my name is Landon. Today we're going to be doing a film review about Driver. Made in 2011, directed by Nicholas Wynn. There is screenwriters as well and cinematographer. The screenwriters are Hossein Amini and James Salas. James Salas wrote the novel in 2005, which is also called Drive. And cinematographer was Newton Thomas Sigel, a well-known cinematographer for his work in the X-Men franchise, so that's a big movie. And as well as the main cast members being Ryan Gosling, obviously the guy from that really pretty movie, forgot the name of it, known as This Man. He's also in The Notebook, which is the movie I was trying to remember. But yeah, so he's very well-known actor. Another popular actor and main character of this movie is Corey Mulligan, known as Irene Gabriel. Another set of main actors being Bryan Cranston, I don't know if I said that right, as Shannon, Albert Brooks as Bernie, Christian Hendricks as Blanche, and Ron Perlman as Nino. The movie The Driver was rated a very good movie in 2011, and honestly had really good reviews. 93% Rotten Tomatoes, just really good rating overall, but audiences like us kind of hated on it because it didn't have enough action for people to enjoy, which is kind of funny considering that there's like two car chases in the movie and lots of beating up and killing and all that kind of great stuff, you know? I feel like a reason why some of the people, like the audience, hated on it maybe a little too much is because it didn't have that kind of cliche action, which with the trailer kind of like showed. It showed like lots of car crashes, beating people up, killing, and there is that obviously, but half of that is about romance and other stuff to do with the movie, which is what a movie really should be. It shouldn't just be about murder and killing people and exploding stuff, and that's what it shouldn't be all about that, which is why I love the movie so much. But it isn't just Irene. Irene has a son named Benicio. Benicio being, I'd say 5 years old in the movie. You can see in this little tiny scene right here that the driver is happy and he's not emotionless anymore. He's like has energy. He just likes hanging out with them. He enjoys himself. He feels happy. After hanging out for a little bit, I'd say, Irene ends up inviting the driver over for dinner. After inviting over the driver for dinner, she explains to him that she's been looking after Benicio this whole time alone because her husband's in jail. He's in prison. I'd say a couple days later, the driver's at the shop and his boss or coworker, Shannon, who's kind of like a little bit of a shady boss, I'd say. Shannon offers this like kind of opportunity job kind of thing to the driver if he wants to race a car for a local gangster known as Bernie Rose. Obviously, the driver agrees. I mean, this man he loves to drive. Like, what else did you expect? And obviously, he performs his task well. I mean, have you seen this man driving? This dude's like cranking in like fifth gear, doing types of turns and stuff through cars, and I mean, come on. He was obviously gonna do good. In this point of the movie, we meet two gangsters, local gangsters known as Bernie Rose and Nino. Nino being played by Ron Perlman and Bernie Rose being played by Albert Brooks. Here's Bernie. He actually shaved his eyebrows completely for this role to make him look like more emotionless and more pissed off, I guess. And here's Nino. Nino looks probably the most terrifying out of anyone in this film. And during this meetup, you kind of like get a little figure out of like who's who and all this. And you meet, obviously, Nino and Bernie, but you kind of understand that Nino is kind of like a number two to Bernie. He's like he'd say partner in crime, but he's a little lower on the pecking order, I'd have to say. There's this really good scene where Bernie and the driver meet up, and they're kind of like, it kind of explains both their characters really, really well.
Hey, Mr. Bernie Rose. Nice to meet you. My hands are a little dirty. So am I.
After this, they do a little bit more kind of shady stuff. The driver's like kind of put into like their system. He's like known now. They know who he is. He's kind of welcome, you could say. And then a couple more days pass, and he's hanging out with Irene again. He's getting closer with her and her son. In this scene right here, the driver and Benicio is watching TV, and there's like something about a shark and how the shark is like known as a bad guy. And the driver asks, are there any good sharks? And Benicio says, no, all the sharks are bad. And it kind of hit the driver a little bit, knowing that he wants to be a good guy, but it's hard for him to get away from his past and of all his bad crimes and stuff and all his shady acts. As the driver's at Irene's house, Irene comes to tell him that she got a phone call from the attorney, her husband's attorney, that he will be coming back, that he got out of prison, and he'll be back in a week. And that kind of ruins the relationship a little bit, kind of puts it in the mud, you could say. And the driver is just kind of broken about it, for sure. And he ends up coming to terms with their ending relationship. And this kind of just has a slow decline of the driver's calm, sane self, as he always is. He's always calm, collected, quiet. He starts turning into a monster a little bit, to the point where whatever gets in his way is gonna be killed pretty brutally. The end of the plot, because I don't want to spoil the whole movie for you guys, so I want you guys to go watch it yourselves, and you go tell me how it is. The worldview aspect of this movie is a little confusing, I'm not gonna lie. I had some trouble. It's known as mainly a postmodernism dominant movie, and here's the postmodernism definition: is a series of assumptions but not really a method of thought. That's kind of a summed up way of thinking about it. Postmodernism is a rejection of philosophies, ideologies, other types of objective truth, human nature, human reason, human feeling, just human values, all those types of things. Just a rejection of it. It is very all over the place and pretty hard to understand. I did notice a little bit of it in the driver, so to speak. At the start of the video, I explained that this scorpion jacket thing had like some hidden meaning to it, and how this kind of brought me to my worldview point. He tells this story about a scorpion and a frog. So in the story, he explains that the scorpion asked the frog to carry him across the river, because obviously the scorpion can't swim. So the frog asks, okay, if I carry you across this river, please don't sting me, because if you sting me, it's gonna hurt, I'm gonna die. So as he's carrying the scorpion across the river, well, obviously the scorpion says, yeah, I won't sting you. But as the frog is carrying the scorpion across the river, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog obviously dies and sinks, and then the scorpion dies because he sinks. But as the scorpion is dying, he says that it's in his nature. That is why he stung the frog. It's in his nature. That's how it applies to the driver. It's the reason he kills, the reason he does all these bad things is because it's in his nature, is what he thinks, is why. And it's what we know. It's really all what we know is that he does it because it's in his nature, it's in his blood. That's why he can't help it. No one can change that. It's just him. It's just in his nature. I think the postmodernism worldview is viewed positively in the movie the movie Drive. Mainly because it never explains any type of ideologies, philosophies, religion, any type of that stuff is never really explained at all or talked about in the movie, like not one bit. And there's so much high amount of killing others, and they don't really take account of human nature or feelings in the movie, which is exactly what postmodernism rejects. It rejects human feelings, nature, any type of that stuff. It doesn't care about at all. To tie it all together, I feel like the filmmakers did a wonderful job on the movie, and it had a really good ending. And I feel it's one of the best directed films I've personally ever seen. It does a great job at adding that Romeo and Juliet kind of feel between Irene and the driver, while keeping it action-packed as well. If I were to rate this movie, I would give it an A, probably. Maybe an A+. But if I were to rate it on the worldview aspect, I would definitely give it a C+, because I feel like it was really hard to understand the aspect of it. Because postmodernism is really confusing, it wasn't like clear set that it was postmodern. But anyways, thank you for watching, and